Things your mother never taught you about investing. I wanted to make the presentation I prepared available to you because if I can get just one or two of you to look at investing as the critical part of your life that it should be, I will be thrilled. I'm smhaggert, and I'm not an accredited financial planner or anything of the sort. I'm someone who learned about investing by trial and error, and I want to share with you some of what I've learned. Why? Because you're women. And as women, you will probably live longer than most of the men in your life. I just read an article that said millennials will need at least $2 million to retire. At some point, you'll have to manage your finances and perhaps those of your family members. You could just let someone else take care of that. Did you hear what I just said? Let someone else take care of your money? Really? I totally trust my husband. I trust my best friends, and I trust some of the people I used to work with. But my greatest asset, the money that will support me in retirement, don't trust anyone but hubby, and we often disagree on how to invest. But let's leave that alone for now. When Ellie Cantor told me she was putting together a program for the American Women in Science in Philadelphia, I was thrilled to be asked to participate. Mostly it was because I was so happy to hear that women like you were looking to familiarize yourselves with the financial aspect of your lives. But I also felt a bit intimidated. What could I possibly say to you that you don't already know? Then I read about a study by FINRA, the organization that regulates and oversees brokers, that 2/3 of Americans can't pass a financial literacy test. That 2/3 is made up of doctors, MBAs, corporate executives, and lots of above average, smart, successful people like yourselves. The reason for this, according to a money manager interviewed by the Washington Post, is that the fundamentals of finance are aggressively boring. Despite that, there are a number of reasons you'll want to know something about investing, so you can pass on some worthwhile information to the children in your life. My mother talked about money. It was never a taboo subject. The things she said went something like this. Your father and I work to earn money to provide for you. If we decide to forgo an expensive vacation or a fancy car, it's because we're saving for your college education. And you get an allowance so you can learn how to save and spend money. My parents were immigrants, and it was their dream that I go to college. For them, saving literally meant a savings account and CD, both of which at today's rates won't do much to save for retirement. Do you have a savings account or a CD? Do you know how much they're paying? And do you know where to search for better rates? I learned about investing from my father-in-law, who used a traditional broker but still did his own research. He liked verifying what his broker said, and he used financial newsletters as one source. He turned me on to reading financial newsletters, and the rest, as they say, is history. I was hooked on investing. As I said, I don't have a formal background in finance, except for a business degree from college. The bulk of my career was spent running a division of a public industrial manufacturing company listed on the New York Stock Exchange. I would notice our fluctuating stock price and soon realize there were other factors besides how well we were doing that affected the stock price. Just another reason I got interested in investing. Now to the 6 things my mother or even my father-in-law didn't teach me about investing. Number 1, time is your BFF and you can get rich. Number 2, don't let the media scare you out of investing. 3, the 3-year rule. 4, make money instead of paying fees. 5, stay the course. 6, teach your children. Time is your BFF and anyone can get rich. Follow along with me while I read this short article written by one of my favorite newsletter writers, Mark Lichtenfeld. It's entitled, Want Your Kids to Be Rich? Do This. Let's take a look at a theoretical example, investing $10,000 for my 8-year-old today. The portfolio has a current yield of 4%, and the dividends are raised by an average of 10% per year. In 10 years, the $10,000 grows into $31,777. Not bad. That'll probably pay for a year of college. But because of her extraordinary intellect, she clearly takes after her dad, this is Mark speaking, she's offered a full scholarship so no tuition is needed. She doesn't touch the money and lets it grow. After 20 years, she has more than $113,000, probably a good down payment on a house. And she's only 28. Instead of buying a house, she takes over the old homestead after my wife and I downsized to a condo. She doesn't need the down payment, so she lets the money grow for another 10 years. Now at 38, she's sitting on a nest egg worth more than $460,000. She has some kids of her own, and she's saving for their college education, so she lets the money ride for another 10 years. Now at age 48, she has more than $2.2 million in her account, giving her almost $200,000 in annual income, all from an initial investment of $10,000 left to grow for 40 years. Don't let the media scare you out of investing. They're so good at it. They'll have you believing it's too complicated, you don't have enough time, you'll lose all your money, and worst of all, some of the TV shows pretend they're actually a good source of stock picks. Wrong, 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 and wrong. First of all, the commentators on the TV shows need to scare you, show off their knowledge, or make you laugh. They're in the entertainment business, not the investment business. They also feel they need to make predictions. Even someone as respected as John Bogle, who founded Vanguard, said in April of 2013 that he felt in the next decade the stock market would go down another 25 to 50%. I think we all know that this has been the longest running stock market bull market ever. Of course, world events and the economy could scare you out of investing. Don't let it. Warren Buffett, the famous investor, once said that he and his business partner, Charlie Munger, have never discussed the economy in their more than 50 years together. Yes, when major events happen, the stock market reacts, but not for long. Remember the 3-year rule. Investing requires you to follow the 3-year rule. If you need it in 3 years, don't invest it. That way you won't be as reactionary when an event occurs like the Great Recession in 2008. The folks who lost a lot of money panicked. Instead of waiting for the market to go back up, it always does, they sold at the bottom. It happened again just recently. This past December of 2018, the stock market had its worst December ever. American investors dumped $44 billion worth of mutual funds and ETFs. Guess what? In 2019, stocks have come roaring back. The Dow Jones Industrial Average finished February with an 11% year-to-date gain, the index's best 2-month start since 1987. Here's what could have happened if you waited it out. Suppose you had dividend-paying stocks and you reinvested the dividends. Those reinvestments would buy more shares of stock at sale prices, which would give you more dividends. Even in that turbulent time in 2008, some very healthy companies actually raised their dividends. That's the beauty of compounding, which Albert Einstein called, quote, the greatest force of the universe, unquote. In my book, I have numerous examples of how effective compounding is with dividend investing. Some of it will surprise you. Investing is about making money, not giving it away in fees. The founder of a financial newsletter, the Oxford Club, Mark Ford, said, quote, the financial industry is very, very good at hiding fees, unquote. The best example of that is the mutual fund industry. In addition to the 1% fee you pay if you use a financial advisor, there's the fees on the mutual funds that the manager has chosen, which can be up to 1.4%. Then there are omnibus processing fees, trailer and 12B fees, networking fees, finder fees, account services fees. You get the point. The worst part about these fees is they're difficult to find. Here's an example from a mutual fund that recently reported 6-month results. And by the way, the objective of this fund is a high level of current income. Before the sales charge, the fund said it made 4.2%. After the sales charge, minus 1.76%. The sales charge has totally wiped out anything we would have made. It is these ridiculous fees that have made ETFs so popular and Vanguard so successful. Their fees are in the range of 0.03 to 0.10%. For example, if you were invested in the Vanguard Total Stock Market ETF, you would pay 0.04% or $4 for every $10,000 invested. A similar fund at 1% would cost you $100. That's a big difference. Investing is all about staying the course, not day trading. This is one reason women actually make better investors than men. They tend to stay the course and not trade frequently or invest in risky ventures. Fidelity Investments recently did research on its most profitable accounts and found they were the ones where people did nothing. That's right, nothing. So investing doesn't necessarily mean you need to spend an inordinate amount of time on your investments. I really think you'll appreciate a perfect example of this. You may have read about it. Ronald Reed, a resident of Vermont, died at the age of 92. His career comprised of working at a local gas station for 25 years, followed by working at the local JCPenney for another 17 years. He was someone who was not well connected, not well educated, or a business owner. When he died, he left an estate of $8 million. How did he do it? He invested in the stock market, bought stocks that were conservative, whose businesses he understood, and reinvested his dividends. By the way, those stocks included ones that went out of business, such as Lehman Brothers. One of the most important reasons you need to learn about investing is so that you can be the mother or the grandmother or the aunt who talks to the children in her life about investing. What you learn now will make you comfortable and your children comfortable and much more prepared to handle the money in their lives. You don't have to be an expert, just be able to tell them where to go for good advice. And who knows, maybe then they can help you with your investments while you retire and are traveling the world. To review some things your mother probably never taught you about investing. Time is your BFF and you can get rich. Don't let the media scare you out of investing. The 3-year rule: if you can't leave it alone for 3 years, don't invest it. Make money instead of paying fees, stay the course, and teach your children. My book, Invest, Reinvest, Rest, Investment Advice for All Generations, may help you with some of your questions. It is available from Ellie or online. I hope you'll visit my website, smhaggert.com, and join the conversation on my blog, Invest the Rest, an intimidation-free zone to talk about investing and hopefully enjoy it. You can also contact me directly at smhaggert.com. I can't give investment advice because I'm not licensed, but I will try to answer general questions. Thank you for listening.